Skeleton!
Go on, you get out of here now. Beat it. Outside. Outside. Yeah!
It's a one fish, two fish. It's a one fish, two fish. And a red fish, blue fish. It's a one fish, two fish. And a red fish, blue fish. It's a one fish, two fish. And a red fish, blue fish. All right, Twitch is a go. Let's see if YouTube is anywhere near. There we go. That looks like YouTube. Let's see if YouTube is anywhere near. There we go. That looks like YouTube. Yeah, nah. That's still bad compared to Twitch. Anyhow, it's anywhere near. We're good. Anyhow, happy National Gardening Day. It's Mrs. Borden with her award-winning fertilizer. Spring has sprung. That's right, spring has sprung. What are we doing today? Showgirl stuff. That's right, showgirl stuff. Let's see where I left off. I haven't touched it since yesterday. I'm still trying to finish up the I've been working on it all day and I've already forgotten what it was. It's got to say Sinbad outfit. Sinbad outfit. What's my garden? We don't say. But I had a very good friend help me put it out there. Isn't that the old story? Uh, Something about a really good friend will help you bury the body. Um, I don't know. Let's start Marvelous Designer. I think I was just getting started on the top. And I need to take a look. So I think I'm going to work a little on the top and then maybe we'll think about the headdress. I'm trying to find add-ons to kind of cheat ways to do sequins or gemstones. I would like to do rhinestones, but actually modeling rhinestones across a whole set. I could do it in. I mean, we can do kind of rhinestones in Blender, except then the poly count, and then it doesn't. It won't be deforceable. So that's the problem with that. The problem. Oh, and Marvel's Designer really wants me to upgrade. And I have to too, because it's got this new lace feature I want to check out. I got to remember to do that. I got to upgrade my Marvelous Designer. Blender is now on 5.1 instead of 5.01, so I have to upgrade that because, it's that time of the month again. Time to upgrade your Blender. Maybe Marvelous Designer won't suck at exporting OBJs quite like it does now. And when I say suck, I mean internal lines aren't welded when it exports. That's just a small problem. Unwelded seams, a small problem. Anyhow, what were we doing? I'm just going to open up. Probably should be in recent, right? Except I was saving tons and tons of morse last night, so it's not there anymore. So we're just going to go open project. Hope that it's somewhere near here. That says Sinbad. That's not what we want. We want. This is in my burlesque folder. I knew that. And hey, Willie, how you doing? And hey, DJ Ray, how's the going? You know me. It's always good, Chris. We'll do the shout outs. Our good friend Charles won't be with us tonight. He's got to work tomorrow, so he's going to turn in early if he hasn't turned in already. Also, make sure to check out the DJ. That's the Rayest. Marabou showgirl outfit. There we go. This is where we left off. So yesterday we made a bottom with kind of a skirt. Actually, yesterday I also tortured you by making you watch me do Sinbad stuff. So anyhow, that's as far as we got. I think that's going to work. I just have to figure out a way to put cool little somethings in here besides just using the sequin shader. So I was thinking taking a pattern and packing it with circles. So I need to try to find something that might pack a pattern with circles, and then I can use displacement maps to pop those up a little bit, and then we can make them shiny. And what I might do is I might do I was thinking I would do a geo shell on top that would have a displacement map so that it would come off the surface. I could put a semi-transparent on that. Then underneath we can put shiny stuff so the light will go through the semi-transparent, bounce off the shiny stuff. And if we put bumpy things in there, maybe it'll sparkle. If we put bumpy, if we if we make like a rough bump map in there. Actually, if I put a rough displacement map in there, just a little, because we're going to use displacement anyhow. Anyhow, those are thoughts because I kind of want to add some rhinestone depth to this or something like that. Rhinestone or studs or something. Anyhow, for the top, I'm going to put something in here. Maybe I should just put a little diamond. And then we're going to take a hard line, hard wire. It's going to come around through. I might run it up through here and then we'll just close it over. And then we'll take this and run it up to a collar. And then we'll take two strands. We'll take one off of here and run it to the back and then one here. And we'll put them together in a clasp here that will, of course, be able to come undone. And then, of course, we'll put a clasp on the back of the neck. So that's kind of the idea for the top. I'm kind of thinking that I might drop, kind of like the way this comes off, that I might drop something off the back of the top to kind of work with the look of this, in addition to trying to figure out how to get sparklies on here. So we're going to do that, and then I'm thinking about, we're going to do a head piece. And I've been looking around, so it's probably going to be something like kind of a crown with feathers. And I don't think I'm going to have it go all the way back. So that's not going to be a deforced item. Although maybe I can deforce the feathers a little bit. So they have a little bit of weight to them. So if you tilt the head sideways, they might droop that way a little bit. But that's going to be tricky to. It might be easier just to put morphs in. I mean, I would put morphs in anyhow. And I haven't thought about. We're going to put something on the wrists. And we're going to include heels. So that's what I'm blocking out for this outfit. So let's get started with this. I'm just going to take a shape here. I think I'm going to run it all the way around. Actually, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to try to cut a circle out, and we'll try to pin it up in here, and then I'll cut out the parts I don't need. And maybe we'll bring it together right here, and then I can add a connector piece in here. Then we can kind of maybe chop that off, run these across, 3 or so that way. So I know, let's start. Let me just start with a circle. We're gonna and it's gonna be, we'll have a thin circle that we're gonna chop up later on. So we'll start with that. We'll start with an ellipse. And I'm gonna draw that to be about what may or may not be a good size. We'll figure this out. Right there, over the breasticles. I'm gonna so we're just gonna make it maybe 10 millimeters. So let's do a pattern offset outline. We'll say 10 on that. That looks really big. We'll say 8 on that. I probably need to just make this larger. We're going to create an internal line because we're going to cut that out later. I think I need to make that bigger. All right, now we'll put that offset as a pattern outline. 8 internal line. Okay. And then we'll just cut this. And we can just delete that out. And then I'm just going to sew stuff. I think I'm going to put a little holder piece in here for right now. I'm trying to think of clever ways to make these shapes. I should have paid attention to my measurements when I was doing this. We're going to do this again. This time I'm going to pay attention to measurements so that I can recreate this stuff without too much. Or we can measure. What is this? What do you say? So say we all 490.4. So I'm going to make a square. I'm going to put a circle in it that's going to be a circumference of 490.4. We're going to chop that out. I just want to get this little curve in here so I can make a little piece out of that. So let's do, so kind of like that. Then we'll just do this internal line thing, and I'm just going to click on that. And we get an option for circumference. Super cool. For, I already forgot what my number was, so cancel that. I got to measure. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. 490.4. That was my magic number. So right here in circumference, we're going to say 490.4. So I know that this is the same curve that we have over there. Just going to do that. I'm just going to take a G line here. We're just going to run this like through here. And then I'm just going to attach that from there to there. Excellent. Now, so I'm going to take this shape and I'm going to sew it to this. I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold it over so it'll sit in between the two. So we're going to cut this out. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. Delete that, and then we'll cut these. Can I do these and then do a cut? And then I can get rid of this. And this is the shape I was looking for right here. Yo, Fallens, how are you doing? Good afternoon, or good evening for those of us near the center of the universe. You're gonna unfold the symmetrical editing. There, I've got my little shape. This is gonna sit in here. And I'm gonna sew that to this. You didn't even see the time. It's still afternoon to you, or is it not even afternoon for you? We're working on a showgirl outfit. Let's cancel that. I kind of blocked out bottoms yesterday. I'm going to kind of try to work out a top. I have an idea what I want to do. We're going to see how this works out. So I want that. I'm going to need a strap that's going to come off here and a strap that's going to kind of come off here. Those will run around to the back. I'm eventually going to figure out, eventually going to cut this and then fill it in. Which means I'm going to probably take a strap. Oh, here, let's do, I'm going to put a neck strap in here. Let's say 150 to start with, and we're going to make that 10 and say okay on that. And we're going to use a lot of displacement maps and trans maps on this stuff. So I'm going to put you like so. And we're going to line you up. So you're going to go around the back of the neck. I'm going to take another piece. You know what? I'm just going to dupe this piece. I could just make it longer, but I think it'll be easier to work with if I just dupe it. So here we're just super dupe this. I'm going to angle this so it fits over here a little bit better. So I'm going to sew this into here somewhere. We'll just arbitrarily choose a spot and adjust it later. And since I got the sewing tool out, I'm going to want this sewn into here. And then I want to take a piece and run it to the back. I'm going to make that, we're going to run two pieces. One's going to come off of here. So you know what, I'm going to I'm going to move you around to where you need to be. So that's going to kind of sit somewhere about in there. And I should sew that. This is going to get sewn to the end of that. Eventually, we'll merge these two together. But for right now, and I'm going to we're going to add a fake link in the back that I can undo later so we can undo this in Daz. But we'll take care of that after I kind of block this out. All right. Then I want to shape over here. I'm going to just pop you in. I'm going to call you 200 for now. And we'll say 10. And I'm going to angle this just a little bit because I'm going to sew it on right about here. Just a wee bit like a bat. That. And then I'm going to put that just underneath this strap. And I'm just going to take, where are you? Let's line you up in the back. Or actually, you get lined up on the side. There's going to be a little piece right in the back that this and then this strap are both going to attach to. And you know what? I'm going to make you, like 10 and 20. Actually, let's say 20 and 20. I'll do that. Actually, I'm going to say 10 and 20, and then I'm going to do a symmetrical fold on that. Like so. And then this is going to sew to the top of that. Like so. I'm going to take you. I'm going to go ahead and just copy that instead of making a new one. I'm going to try to line this up in here. So the idea is I'm going to have this come up right about somewhere close to that. So we're going to move this back. So it kind of matches. And I'm just going to sew that in. Or that went the wrong way. My sew line went all the way around instead of from here to here. That's better. So we're just going to cheat that into there. I'm going to move you into the back. So both of those are come together right about there. I need to and then I'm going to sew that over to this. And eventually I'm going to build two overlapping parts with little attachments that we can then make an undone version with by just deleting out the little attachment polys. Is good there. Oh, I was going to make a full collar out of that. I forgot. I should get rid of that and just make, or actually we're going to turn you into a full color and then I'm just going to sew you onto that. We'll do that. I'll shape it out a little better later. Like that. And that means this isn't going to sew there anymore. We're going to just take this and attach it right about onto the edge of that, close to the front, so they both kind of come up to the collar. Maybe like that. And I gotta move you in. I think we're going to worry about filling that in later. So I think that gives me all the starter pieces. We'll just kind of organize a little bit. You should actually kind of be in the center. If I can move you. Because the center line is right there. And yeah, I'm just going to keep all the straps close to each other. And then the collar's here. I'm probably going to shape the collar so it comes down a bit further in the front. You know what? Let's just do that now. Kind of like that. Add a little bit of curve to that. Whee! Just a little bit of S-curve in there. All right, I'm ready to dupe all of this. So we'll do a link to dupe. Put all of that over there. And if I did this right, all the sewing should be good. The only thing that needs touch up is I need to sew these across like that. Okay, we're going to make sure gravity's turned off. And then I'm also going to freeze the bottom. We don't need the bottom doing anything right now. And let's make sure the gravity's gone. So I'm in the wrong window. I have to come over here and say simulation properties. And here, we'll just set that to 0. All right, let's see how this goes. Okay, my circles are too big. So we're going to redo those, make them smaller. I'm probably going to want this farther out. I'm just going to shrink this down for right now, but I'm going to recreate it later. And I may redo this. But for starters, we're just going to shrink. I want to grab a freaking handle and I grab something else. All right, let's just make that smaller. Let's see how that goes. I've got too much tension in here, so once we start adjusting the tension, it'll probably hold up. And somewhere in here, we're actually just going to chop this up. But what I want is I want a good, solid circle shape. Let's see if we can force that into wanting to be a circle. Come on. You know you want to. I just got too much. So here, let's turn the stress on. And actually, I think I'm going to move this over, and then we'll readjust this. So I'm going to bring that up farther. And now I don't think I need that to be as sharp, but I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, you can see how it's looking little. So we'll take a little bit of this out, and then we'll adjust the length. I've got the wrong piece. I want to come over here and do this. And then I need to adjust that. And I think I just need to. It always has a bad tendency of running down the back like that. Because that's where I want it. You know what? That's a good spot right there. What I'm going to do is here, we're going to stop the sim. I'm going to reset this. I'm going to freeze it, put it in place so it holds up its shape. Or can I just, actually, let me check something here. Maybe I can use elastic on these edges to make it keep its shape. So there's the old elastic trick where if you set it to a ratio of 100, which is basically the size I drew it, but then we set the elastic strength to 100, it helps keep it from stretching, kind of like what it's doing over here. That's an old Daniel trick I learned when he was on YouTube. So you see it's holding and it slid down. Stop that. And it's a little better, but you know what? I'm going to put that back to its normal shape. We're going to just freeze that so it doesn't move. And then I'm just going to put that exactly where I want it to be. You're turned at a funny angle. There's something that got reset. I always wondered about this. So ideally, this is telling me it should be kind of right about in here. Somewhere like that. Okay, and that of course ran down the side anyhow. We're going to turn the stress map on. So I think basically I just need to make these longer until this gets a little, but as I do that, they're going to want to sag. Or maybe I freeze you, put you into position, and force everything to come to you. We'll try that. I love it when the shortcut key doesn't work. Control F, Control F, Control F. Nope. See right there? Reset, Control F. Doesn't work. If I do that, though, it works. Way to go. So I'm actually just going to freeze that so it holds that shape. Then I'm going to just try to position it. And maybe make it a little bit larger. I think I do want it a little bit larger because I did want it running along here. All right, back to let's see how this goes. Nope, I think I just need to make it larger again. Just a little bit. Do I have a... What I need right now is a tool that does local. Is there a way to do local? And I've never actually thought to do that before. It's just never come into... But right now, if I were in Blender, I would switch this over the like local or some other way so it, my axis is orienting on the object and not the global space. Marvelous designer. I'm over on screen 2. Local orientation. Local orientation based on their own axis rather than to activate local coordinate gizmo. Yeah. Freaking gizmo axis setting. There we go. Main menu, preference gizmo. Okay, main menu. Main menu. Main menu. Preferences. Right click in the 3D window and 3D location. Operation. Yeah, I don't think preferences is where you think it is. because it's over here in settings. Oh, and that's the official. That's the official Marvelous designer. Not even the official Marvelous designer knows where the fuck anything is. So, oops, sorry. 3D window, right click, select a desired gizmo. 3D unified gizmo. That's not screen coordinate. Click the axis of the gizmo and drag it. Choose the object, moves along. Local coordinate gizmo. Where the hell are you? User interface. Can I just click on the gizmo? Is there something in here? Copy, move, activate, mesh, convert, normal. Move around center. No, Artless Designer supports useless. Because it makes Marvelous Designer. The local coordinate enables. Yeah. I know what it does. Just tell me where the. Click in the 3D window. It appears the 3D arrows and moves to access. Right click in the 3D window background. Then select gizmo. Oh, there it is, gizmo. Local coordinates. There we go. That's not local coordinates for that. What the hell? Well, that was a freaking waste of time. Does it stick with it? Is that what it does? No. That's totally not what a local coordinate's supposed to do. What the That was a waste of time. If I could get it local, I might be able to, it would be a little easier to fix that thing. You know, actually, from here, I still want that to be larger and to come out all the way to here. Try that. It's funny, my initial size is probably closer to being right. It just got all stretched to hell and it didn't look good. I think I'm getting there. It's Thursday. Oh, dang. I must have forgot to hit the update thing. Oh, it still says it's Monday. There. What the hell? I keep forgetting. I put it in and then I forget to hit the stupid done button. And now you probably have to refresh the street. And now and unfortunately Twitch just names a video after whatever it was when you started, when it actually should name it after whatever you ended the stream calling it, because that just makes more sense. But once it assigns a name to a stream, you're doomed. I think in order to get that update, I have to update or something, right? But once it assigns a name to a stream, nope, it still says National Peach Cobbler Day. What the hell? Stream info is OBS not talking to. Oh, that's no, that's YouTube. That's my problem. Oh, YouTube's just forked. There it is. Oh, and it says Thursday. Damn it. That's my problem. It did say I did update it, but it just says Thursday. So it's not Thursday. Let's fix that. I didn't even realize what day of the week it was. It's Tuesday. Beaches. And old Mother Borden is out in her garden with the best fertilizer on the planet. There you go. Hopefully, eventually, it'll say Tuesday. All right, let's see if we can get this. I'm so close. This would go better if I could just local. Because that's the way my brain works when doing like this kind of stuff. I think I'm almost there. Well, I need you to be centered over a little bit, so you need to be actually still a little bit larger, right? Because I need this, and then I need that out over there. So maybe we'll pull that out like so. I think I'm going to trim this down. You know what? Probably close enough. All right, let's do that. Let's stop this for a second. I'm going to delete you. And we'll just Control D. We'll just link edit and bring that over. And that tells me that I need to move these a little bit closer together. I need to just touch. And now we're going to adjust the lengths of these things. And then eventually we're going to kind of switch this back. So that obviously is too short. Or too long. So we're going to just make you shorter. Also, I can probably make that a little bit flatter now. Maybe not that flat. Somewhere in there. I'm going to want to adjust that a little bit. And then we'll just take this in until we get that to pop straight. And now I probably should make that a little bit longer, but here, let's do the stress map. That's not too bad. I'm going to pull this out just a hair more and adjust that. So that's not too bad. That actually is a good color. That is, we'll tweak that in that shape. We're going to move these up a little bit. And I can't move anything because I've got the stress map on. Stress map doesn't like the gizmo. So we'll just do that. I think I'm going to flatten this out and pull these a little bit. So they're just I need a little bit of a gap in here. pull you just a little bit that way. I'm going to bring you out a little bit that way. I'm going to flatten the top of that off a little. So I think I'm going to add a couple points here, and we'll just pull these up, and then we'll tweak the sewing in here. Let's do it this way. Let's run that across like that, and I'll just cut that out and pull that up. So we'll just do a cut there. We'll do a little delete there. We'll grab this. Just kind of nudge it. Right about there. I'm going to tweak those curves a little bit. Get rid of those. That's probably, maybe I can just lose these two as well. And we'll adjust these two. Probably okay. Let's tweak our sewing over here. What do we got? I got 22. I got 74 to 51. Really? Oh, that needs to slide all the way up here. The other side didn't get adjusted. Okay, I could use a little bit more room. I think this whole thing's just getting stretched a bit. So maybe we'll just make it a little wider. Probably all right. Okay, let's adjust. Let's adjust this. I think I need to just slide this up into here, which means we're going to bring this back and then adjust the sewing on that. I'm going to just put this down here because it's a little easier to kind of work if I can see the two together. So bring you in like so. Just that sewing. Just that. See if I got a little bit better. It's a little bit better. I think I can still use a little bit more. Oh, everything's red. Let's see if we can lighten that up. I'm not sure what the difference is between a stress and a strain map. Let's find out. Marvelous designer stress map versus strain map. Difference. Stress map shows how much pressure in the fabric per section. Strain map shows how much the garment is stretching when being worn. So I think I want to reduce the strain a fair bit. So we'll take a look at the strain map, and everything's in the red, which means it's all stretched really tight. So let's see if we can tweak these. We'll start with this one. So that did good there. I'm going to pull these apart a little bit more. Are you still? I think they're mirrored still. Are they still mirrored, or did I lose that? I think I lost that. Let me see if I can get that back. I'm going to cut and then we'll do a symmetrical fold so I can just move this over. Idea is to try to get that out of the red. Then we'll come work on this. This I'm not too worried about. And then we'll rework this. And then I can try to bring this in. I'm cutting, I'm deleting. I'm going to fold with symmetrical sewing. I'm going to put those back in place. Okay, I got a little bit of red in here, so we're just going to grab that point, pull it out a little. I'm going to grab these points, pull them out a little. I'm good here. I still a little on the red side here. Let's tweak the, let's just make sure my sewing's good. 78 to 74. This one's 74, so you know what? I think I'm going to drag you up to there. Okay, that was, my strain was coming from there and not the mismatch. So I'm going to pull that back a little bit. Oh, we're right in the, right in there. There we go. Well, now you're folding funny, but you're still showing some strain. Now you're going up there. I like that. All right, I'm going to live with that until I break things. All right, let's tweak this. And we're just going to make it longer in the back here until the red goes away. And you are one. No, you are. Oh, you're this. You're down over here. Okay, we're there. I think that's going to work. I can live with that. All right, we'll work this one. Same drill. We'll just take this and just run it out that way. That's kind of good, I think. All right, we'll do this. We'll just run this to get rid of that. Oops, one too far. Just one too far. All right, let's see how this goes. And then the idea is I'm going to chop. You know what? I might move you up here and bring you down into here so I can chop more off. Anyhow, you know what? Let's hit save. An old mage once said saving was good. But then they lived in a cave, so I'm not sure about that. And it didn't even have central air. All right, let's, I'm going to set this material to be something like really stiff. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to call this top rings for right now. And we're going to come down and do the custom. And we are looking for, there's a hardware trim. I think I already went past it. Right in here somewhere. Fabric hardware trim. You know what? That's not even as stiff as the full. We're going to put the full grain leather on that. And then we'll just turn that off. unfreeze those, unstrengthen those, and not too bad. I think I'm in the ballpark. If I make those, that works. We are going to chop this off anyhow. I do kind of want this to be a circular shape. You know what? Maybe we'll slide this down here, and I'm going to pull this out to here. So let's do that. I want you. I'm going to undo that because I want to. Okay, now I'm going to do this. I want to do this with the simulation turned off. So I want you over there. I want to refreeze. Use you two. Oh, that got janky. Wow, wow, wow. I'm going to try to back up to the point where that wasn't janky. That's where it was? Okay. Did I set the, there we go. Okay, the idea is to get that out over there. We're going to refreeze these and then play. I'm going to bring this out further and then we'll bring it down over to into here. So this. No. There we go. I want you maybe out over there. And we want you possibly in over there. And then we're just going to lengthen this out. I think that's good. And then I want to tweak. Tweak that. And if we tweak that, we don't want to tweak this. So there we go. Something like that. All right, let's hit save. Now I'm just going to put some chops in here. We're going to chop off from here and here. I'm going to move that sewing down. This sewing is a little bit above the center line. We're just going to slide it down here. See how it's just up right there? We're just going to take the whole thing and move it down to there. So I can do this. Just run a little line through there. I'm going to put a cut in there. And then we're going to find this sewing point over here. And I'm just going to run a little line like that. And I'm going to make sure that this is sitting on the other side of that. So when I cut this, okay, we're gonna leave those like that for now. Sketch out 3 shapes. There's gonna be a shape here, a shape that'll come across the middle, and a shape come across the top. So we'll just do that with a pen avatar. Let me see if I can do. This probably isn't going to work the way I want it to work, but let's find out. What I want to do is kind of make this semicircle shape and then chop it up. It may not like me doing that. It may just say, no, that's just one freaking shape, dude. You can't split this up into easy to use parts. Sorry. So I want a shape like that. And you know what? I'm going to move you. And then I'm going to put a shape in like there. And I'm going to want another one. It's going to come in through here. And now we'll see if we can edit these up. Clean these up with the edit avatar. Can I just grab you and no, that would have been too easy. Can I add a curve point? Yep. And then I can drag you, right? Yay. I can get rid of this now. And then I can add a curve point on that maybe. Or I can get rid of, yeah, I'm going to put a curve point there. Get rid of this point over here. And then I can kind of, well, you're way up there, aren't you? Let's bring you down here. And you get to go over there. And you're going to come in. And you need to be somewhere in there. Now I can't reach. Oh, that's probably fine. And then I'll put a curve point in here. So I want that to kind of come through there. So I want these a little, I want that to kind of split those two in half. You, I don't need. And then I want you to come. So those two are about the same. This needs a little more work, so I'm going to maybe add another curve point in here. Something like that. Probably going to have to smooth this out because it's always all right. Let's see if we can turn these into pattern pieces now. Flatten. Nice, nice, sweet. Okay, there's one, there's two, and there's three. Okay, so those give me my 3 pattern pieces. Are you upside down? You're not upside down. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to retrace these out, and then we're going to sew them in. And we'll probably make some adjustments to the lengths to match the length of what we're sewing into. I think we'll build this up, and then we'll tweak that one. That I'm going to make maybe a little smaller. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to measure these and balance them out. And yeah, let's move this stuff up here where I can work on it. So that's a fairly clean piece. That's not too bad. I think I'm going to tweak. I'm going to put a little bit of a curve in here. I'm going to get rid of both of those. Just add my own. Just like that. I'm going to adjust you to be a little more curvy. So we're going to clean these up, get rid of these extraneous. I only need one in here. It's got 2. Do that. And do that. I'm going to simplify. Can I simplify you? Optimize curves. That leaves me with 3. Can we do better? I'm going the wrong way. But can we do two? That did I don't know what that did. Let's try this again. That did a good job. I can probably live without these two. Okay, we'll do the optimized curve over here. Nope, that went the wrong way. Chris is no understanding optimized curve. Optimized curve. I don't know. Are you good? You know, it shows me this preview and then it doesn't. And now it looks like the preview. That is the weirdest. Frickin' fracket, frickin' fracket. Rattle, fretzel, frack. Now I'm turning into Muttley. Optimize curve. I'll just say okay on that. We'll see what we get. This is the weirdest thing. I undo it and it goes back to this sort of. Okay, that looks nice. That's just about a straight line. So I'm just going to make that a straight line. This I can probably maybe just get rid of those. Clean you up a little bit. All right, this is probably, what do you say, 133.4? 136.3. So let's change the change length. 133.4. Actually, this, yeah, let's do that. Change length. 133.4. Say okay to that. That I'm going to smooth out a little bit maybe. I like that. I'm going to get rid of that one. Okay, now I'm going to set you 1774. Change length. We'll say both. 177.4. Okie dokie. Then I'm going to take that. 42.9. That's going to become 42.9. The other direction. And then we're just going to do the same thing here. I don't need you. I'm going to convert you to a curve point. And we're going to clean those up. And I'm going to measure this 54.2, and we're going to set that to 54.2. Okay, let's see how this goes. Now we're going to sew all of this in to here. These ones are easy. I'm going to sew those to those and that to that. And then I have to figure out, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start here. And maybe we can change the length down here after we sew this in. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see how this goes. So I'm going to sew that into there, that into here. Then we're going to bring it down the other side. I need to tweak that. I need this to create a point over here. So extend and add to pattern outline. There we go. No, that's not what you're supposed to do. Let's try that again. Maybe to internal line. do pattern. I did pattern outline again, didn't I? Let's try this again. To internal line. Did that go to the right spot? Did I get a point in here? I didn't get a point where I needed a point. I'm going to just have to eyeball that in. Or can I just maybe, can I just do my cut? What if I just do a cut and sew there? And you know what? I think I'm just going to do a cut and sew over here. I could just do cuts. Doesn't make any difference. We'll just cut and then we'll get rid of these. I think those are about right. All right, now let's get this finished being sewn in. So now I've kind of got this anchored. That goes there. This is going to come here. And I hope, we'll see how this goes. This is the one. We might have to adjust the size of that to fit this. Yeah, that needs to be 96.1. So we're a little large. Although that looks good. Hey, Rod, how are you doing? That looks really good. I'm going to tweak this just a little bit. But it's looking so good right now. I don't want to mess it up too much. And then that'll help keep the circle shape when we go back. It's Rod Shelley. All right, let's take my measurements again. Actually do this. Survey says 96.1 is our target length. So I'm going to switch this to 96.1, and then I'm going to adjust this to match that. So we'll do this like this, change length, 96.1, and I'm going to do both. So it's going to do that, and we're going to say okay. And then I'm going to measure that, and it says 133.4, and I want this to be 133.4. So we're going to adjust these two things until that says 133.4. I had it. That's pretty close. How does that look? It looks fine. That's looking fine. I'm happy with that. Yay. I'm going to copy this over to the other side. All that futzing around with numbers and stuff, and it actually worked. You know what I should do is I should attach this to the end of that. Tired. Did the first front yard mowing of the season. Oh no. And worked in the back picking up a ton of and a half of damn branches, sticks, and those big trees in the yard always. Yeah. My lawn guy will be here in 2 weeks. I should go clean some stuff up. We want him to go a little bit farther on the trail in the back, but there's a big weed growing back there, so I got to go get that out of there. If I expect the lawn guy to go all the way back to the second lot. Once upon a time, my lot was 3 lots, and I have the lawn guy. There's a little path, so the lawn guy just shoots down it and comes back to mow that path. That's all he has to do. And he's got one of those ride 'em tractors. So honestly, it probably takes him a whole 10 seconds to do that part of the yard. They come out here in like 10 or 15 minutes, they're done. Him and his helper, he rides that one of those big riding mowers, and the other guy's got the weed whacker, and it runs around the edges. I'm happy with that. Okay, so we're going to make adjustments though. Like I said, I'm going to take this and I'm going to actually sew it onto the end of this. And I think that might, you know what? I'm happy with how that's looking. What time is it? I still got 40 minutes. I don't have any plans. You know what? I'm going to start blocking out a headpiece. I think I'm going to do a band and we'll do kind of a crown to start with. You do have a riding mower for the back, but you got well, yeah, you got to do that too. You got a real riding mower, or you got one of those little kitty riding mowers. The little riding mowers are so much better than a push mower, though. I will give you that. And you just sit on it, you do your thing. But my neighbor got one that's like a mini me version of the industrial mowers that the professionals use. Or you sit in the chair with the two handles. Okay, a real one. Wow. Joe likes you. I'm going to put a little cut through here, and then we're going to reshape this and sew it onto here. Actually, let's see. What do I need that to be? So our target number, I think, is 10. So I want to get this close to 10. This is probably, where are you at right now? You're at like 8.4. So maybe if we do, and we put a little bit of an angle on there. So I can just do, you know what? That's probably going to work right there if I just do a 10, right? And we'll just cut, and we'll just chop that off. And then we'll just square off. I got to get rid of this one over here too. And then we're just going to square that off and sew it onto here. You think you're keeper? What the heck? Even with that damaged ankle, which is, yay! Damaged ankle getting better. You're not going to trade her in for the newest model? We don't do that anymore. Um, all right, we're going to delete that. And I'm going to resew this into here. And that's going to go in like that. See, that gives me a nice neater line than what I had. Yay. I'm going to put a little trim through here. And actually, as I'm going, I've been kind of setting up my trims. We're going to build out. We're going to redo this so that it can come apart later on. And also, we're going to redo this so it will come apart later on, too. You get tired of these? Me too. I get tired just getting out of bed. That is too much work, man. Um, let's do a copy of that. I'm going to just line you up. I can't move anything because I still have the strain map on. There we go. We're just going to line you up in here. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to add two little thin pieces. I think they're going to be like just, it's going to be like 2 by 20. And these sit in between here and here. It's a scam. It's a trap. I'm going to put you over there. Select both of you fellers. Bring you back. I can't even see where you are. Get you back into here. I'm going to unsew that. I got two things that are sewn onto here. Oh, they're symmetrical. You know what? I'll have to just resew it. That's all. No biggie. Ain't no thing. Ain't no thing. Yeah, all right. I'm just going to undo these sewings and then we're just going to redo them. I just have to figure out what goes where. So I want to sew this one into here. I need to turn off my linked editing. So I'm going to do it on these. These no longer need to be. And now I can sew that goes here. That goes there. Hold on a minute. All right, we're back. That was nothing. Can't even bother to be on the phone when somebody picks up. You're obviously trying to scam me out of most likely my money. Where are we? Okay, I got that sewn on. Now we're going to sew the other side in to here. And then this gets sewn to here. So I have one, I don't know, can I zoom in on this? So I got two straps that sew onto this piece and then two straps that sew onto these pieces. These two pieces are going to be held together by thin little strips that can be deleted and then they can come apart. So that's the way we're doing that. So these are my thin little pieces in here. And because, and this is the cool part, when I delete these out, they don't actually delete vertices, so I can still use morphs between the two versions, at least in DAS. Anyhow, so we're gonna sew you to you, you to you, you to you, and you to you. I'm gonna leave those frozen while we let everything settle back in. There we go. Most excellent. Okay, now we're going to do the kind of the same thing up here. I'm going to add two little, I'm going to extend these a little bit, or I'm going to put a line. I'm going to extend these a little bit. We'll put a little cut line in here, and then we'll just put two thin little pieces in there that we can delete out later so that then that can come apart. So I'm just going to come back, and you know what? I'm going to merge this front. So that's one piece. Oops, I got too much stuff. And then I'm just going to set you on the center line. And then in here, I might actually, here, we'll do this. We'll extend this by 10. Right? So we'll do offset pattern outline. I'm going to say 15. We'll do that. And then I'm going to delete this. And we're going to measure this. So 44.2. So I need 2 by 44.2. Like a so. And I think if I sew this, I might be able to mirror this. So that into there. I got to put a cut and sew on this. Hold on. Cut and sew that. Because Marvel's designer will unweld that and I will lose and it'll fall apart otherwise if that's not cut and sewn. If it's just an internal line, it will punish me. Okay, so this gets sewn into there. This gets sewn into this edge over here. And then I should be able to get away with just Control D, make a linked copy. Let's move these in closer. Oh my God, they're so small I can't see them. Let's get you in there. Let's bring you around in here. All right, let's see how this goes. There we go. So we have these overlapped. We can put some fake connectors or something with displacement maps and opacity maps. And then we could just delete this strip and that strip out and they come apart. Okay, so that's my collar. Do I want to maybe, I'm going to add a little bit of shape in there and maybe pull that down further. And we'll probably just put trans maps and details on that. I might model something in there, who knows? Let's convert you to a curve point. Or actually, you know what, cancel that. Let's put a V point there. Give myself a little bit of room. Maybe like that. And then I'll just smooth that out a little. I'm looking at that corner, watching it. That's probably good enough. Then we do that. I think I need to add a little bit more onto the end of this. I can see it pulling a little too much there. All right, looking good. All right, we're going to unfreeze these rings and see how it goes. I'm going to strengthen them, then unfreeze them, and see how this goes. I can probably live with that. I think that's a good fit. I like that. I was thinking of hanging the skirt off of that, but I don't know if I'm going to. Let's do that. Let's take a little bit of skirting and run it off of here. It'll have a gap in the back, and it'll kind of mirror the look down there is what I'm thinking. Let's hit save. We got 27 minutes before 9. Yo, Napsmore, how are you doing? So was the best year of your life thing in high school? Oh, golden years. Oh, we're talking to Rod Shelley. Oh no, I'm out of drink. And by drink, I mean milk. Although I do have iced tea. Maybe I should switch to the iced tea. Yeah, it's fine. That's fine. It'll be fine. When I add the skirt here, though, it's going to get weird. I'm going to put it on anyhow and see how it goes. So that is going to hang off of this. So we're going to measure that to 60.9. I'm going to make a little panel that's going to be like 400 because I want it to bunch up when I do like gathering. And then we're also going to curve it so that it droops down further in the back than the front. Although with this stupid curve in here that I can never get rid of. So here, let's try this. Boop. 400. And I don't know, let's say 250 to start with. That looks way too much. Let's go 150 and we'll adjust from there. Say okay to that. I'm going to put that under the arm. I'm going to give it a little bit of shape. We're going to take it up and then I'm going to round it out on the front. Also, everything's tri-ace right now. We're going to clean that up in a second. All right, do that. Come over here to the old smooth curve thing. Whee! I'm going to put a little bit of a smooth curve over here. Not much. There's going to be a little gap in the back where it attaches. So, and I'm just going to take you and we're just going to sew you on here. And you're just going to come maybe right about in there. And I'm going to freeze everything except for this for right now. Control A, Control K, and on Control K that. And then do this. And that. I don't have gravity on, so it's not falling naturally yet. Here, let's put gravity on. Gravity. Minus, we'll do half a G of gravity. You know what? Because of the way this is hanging, it may make sense to just bring this in to offset like so. I'm not sure I'm going to keep that or not. Do I want to pull that? Maybe we'll pull it out a little further into the front. Oh, you're down here. I don't know. I be debating. Control D on that. Get our linked copy in here. Do that. Now with gravity on, it's probably going to make that sag even more. If I unstrengthen that, it's going to probably run all the way down to here. Let's hit save. Actually, how do you look if we just bring you all the way over? That's actually not too bad. I might leave that. Although did I just slide that instead of move the end? I did. I just want to move. There we go. That's better. I may leave that. Part of me is thinking of slicing it up into little chunks and making little tassels out of it. Tells you what kind of master plan I have for this. I don't. All right, let's hit save. I think I'm in the ballpark for the main part of this outfit. I do need to do a hat, but let's think about trim zones. I want to worry about trim zones later. Let's work on the hat. Let's get a headband in here. I'm just going to kind of put a crown piece And then I'll think about, we'll probably just model feathers and put it off of there. There's a tool that tells me what the circumference of the head is, so let's see if we can find that. Basic circumference measurement avatar. Maybe something like that. So maybe if we do 530 is the number I'm getting. So half of that is, we'll say half 265. And I'll just do a 10 for now. And we'll just put that right in here. I'll move these loopy cups out of the way. I'm going to do that. And what did I just say? 165. We'll do 10 on that. I'll say okay to that. And then we'll just line this up. Nope, I'm on the wrong tool. Do this. So those together. I'm going to turn gravity back off. Do that. That didn't work. Maybe I make it just a little bit longer. Maybe we need the gravity on after all. Maybe I need to make you super sticky. We'll try that. Ew, the avatar's sticky. There we go. Nope. Why are you? You're still like too large. Oh, that's because my measurement's way off. It was 265, not 165. Doy. Stimpy, you fool. Let's do this again. Okay. 265 by 10. Okie dokie. You to you. You to you. There we go. I want to rough this out and then we'll just detail the shit out of it over in Blender side. Because we'll probably put something here and then woody woody whoop 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 something like that. I'm going to just rough out with a poly. I need the other poly. Poly want a poly. Like that. Do something like this. Do something like this. Do something like this. Actually, what I should, I got a better idea. Do that. I have an idea. I'm trying to be clever again. You know how that goes. Uh, so I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5. We need to split this into 5. Split. I'm going to do a uniform split, and I'm going to say 5. And we're going to say okay. And you know what? I'm going to bring you in just a little bit like that. And now I can just kind of grab these little doohickeys and kind of just, I got, no, you're a point, you're a point. I needed, I said 5 and it gave me, oh, I know what it did. I need to say 6 segments, split, split, uniform, uniform split, number of segments. I want to say 6. Okay, we are good now. I want that one. I want that one. I want that one. And we're just going to take you guys up like that. And then when we subdue the shit out of this, and let's see how this kind of works. Bring you up a little. I'm just going to sew you into here. Just going to do that. We'll just sew that seam in the middle. Oops. I'm going to undo that. Let's freeze this guy. And then we can do this. And I'm going to rough that out. That is way too tall. That's probably better. Yeah, and then we're going to add feathers to that. Only I want this to lean. So you know what? I think maybe we'll nudge this kind of that way. Maybe bring you back. Adjust the sewing. So I'm kind of getting it to come out. Yeah, I think that'll be good. All right, I think everything's tries right now, so we're going to fix that up. I'm going to re-UV map this, and we're going to rework the hell out of it. You know, I'm going to round these, maybe make these sharper. And add feathers. Lots of feathers behind that. And maybe I'm going to put a big piece right in the front. Anyhow, let's start doing some technical cleanup. We got 11 minutes. So everything is probably mostly tries. Can I just quad optimize everything this way? It hasn't been letting me do that. It's kind of annoying. I should be able to select everything and quad optimize, but it's going, nah, bro, that confuses me, man. I'm gonna need you to like not have so many pieces selected, man. You're harshing my buzz. There we go. How are we done? Did I get them all now? All right, there we go. It's good. Um, I'm gonna need some. I need some edges. Do I want to round this? I think I'm gonna round this corner here. A little bit like that. Actually, let's turn on. Let me take gravity. Do I have gravity turned off? I want just slight gravity. And now I've zoomed way too far out. Let's just add 1000, which is close to 1/10 of a G. And select everything and undo that. And you know what? It's all holding in place kind of nicely. So we're going to want to add trim along here. Are you still, you're still uniform, you're still mirrored. So offset as an internal line by 5, looking good. Let's see if we can do a cut and sew on that. Cut and sew. I don't know. It's probably going to give me a weird corner. I think I'm good. I think it did okay. That's looking fine. So we got that little trim edge that we like so much. I'm going to go ahead and add a trim edge on here. And also I'm going to add one right there. So this already's been trimmed out. We need to just add a trim line on here. And that attaches there. Not that you can even see this, but if you hide the skirt, you can. So we'll just do a little offset as an internal line right there. We'll do a little cutting and sewing on that. That will become a yo, hola, Atherin. How you doing? Gonna put a trim line through here. Cut and sew that. Gonna put a trim line. You know what? I don't need you. You little wayward Wookie. We need those. Okay, I'm gonna put a little trim line on the bottom edge here. Offset as an internal line. 5. Okie dokie. Cut and silky. Is looking good. We'll run a trim line along the bottom of this. Cut and sew that. Gonna run a trim line along here. Bottom edge of this skirty thing, which I'm in debate whether or not to keep. My other option is maybe just add fringe instead of the skirt. So maybe we'll be back adding fringe instead of a skirt on Thursday. Offset as an internal line. 5, okay. So do I want to add extra? I do want an extra line right there. I don't think I'm going to put one here and here though. Although I am going to call this cup trim, cup 01, cup 02, cup 03. Because you can never have enough surfaces. Not like that time I put 80 some odd surfaces in a suit. It needed it though. It really needed it. And then we'll put a little trim line in here and here. Offset as an internal line. Okie dokie. Cut and soaky. Did that work? It did. Okay. All right. I got a couple minutes. Let me organize this. Should I turn this sideways? I feel like that's so wrong, but I'm going to do it. I need to move you guys out of the way though. So I can select all of this and then rotate that. Just because of the weirdness. Then I'm going to put the rest of... Actually, can I fit the rest of this down in here? These won't fit. Let's see, these, where these need to go. This is the waistband for the bottom. So where can I fit you? Can I fit you in here and still get these guys? What the? I select, I grab, there we go. Yeah, I can get that in there. Can I get you into that hole right there? Do you fit? I think you do. I can cram all of that into here. That's a little neater looking. I'm going to go ahead and just butt these up against each other. Or at least closer to each other. And we'll maybe, if we can get that as far as we can inside this edge, it's probably going to be good enough. And then just make sure that this sits inside those edges. It's probably fine. And that leaves me all of this room over here. And I can optimize the squareness of this map. So I'm going to put you here, you here. I'll get the straps into here. You're probably fine there. Let's move you up here for right now. Take that. Maybe line you in there. It's fine. I think... Which side do you attach to? You attach to that side. You attach to that side. So let's move you... No, let's keep you two together. It's easier for me to work with, like... But I will... Let's put you side by side. Let's put you in line with those. We'll organize our straps to be a little tighter down in here. I got this one way up here. I think you guys can come. You're overlapping. That's bad. Let's not do that. And these are neck straps or something. No, you're the headband. You're going to get to stay up there. You would probably even get your own map. You're special. And then kind of get that out in there. Like that. So this is going to end up being the headpiece, so I'm not worrying about, although I'll probably stick it down in this corner for now. But it's eventually going to get its own UV map, I think. And then this. I like the symmetry, so I'm going to not... I could shove it into here by stacking stuff. I don't know. Let's see how this is looking, and then we're going to call it a night. UV editor. Reset. Fit to. So I got a little bit of slop in here. I can tighten this up a little bit. Maybe bring this... Maybe we slide you over, but then you're going to probably clip over here. I don't know. Maybe slide this over into here. Anyhow, it's 9 o'clock. I am good direction. We've got everything chopped up. We just need to sign surfaces. I think I've got to get a solid start of an outfit here. We're going to want to put something on the arms. I'm not quite sure what yet to come. Fix out the headpiece. Maybe we'll add earrings, and we'll just make some shoes to go with this. Some slippers, high heel slippers or something. It'll just maybe be one or two straps, a real thin strappy thing, and maybe a 3 to 4 inch heel on that. Because nothing sounds like torture as much as having to dance in heels. And the higher and the smaller they are, the more torturous I'm sure it is. Anyhow, we'll hit save on that and call it a night. Thank you all for being here. Oh no! What the hell happened? What the... I hit save and it went to shit. It did that pattern thing. You see how you see how my outline is here, and yet my fill is over here. There's a new version out. I'm gonna load it up and see how it's doing. I'm going to hit save on this. I can fix this, but it's kind of tedious because what I have to do is go in here and nudge. If I nudge points, it forces it to refill in the right spot again, but it's kind of annoying and tedious. Anyhow, I'm going to hit save here and we're going to call it a day. Let's find somebody to raid. Thank you all for being here. Good to see you, Napsmore. We had the awesome sauce that's Rod Shelley in the house. DJ Ray and Fallen Learns, we saw you guys as well. My good friend C.S. Bond wasn't here tonight. He's got to work tomorrow. So he's probably, hopefully, sound asleep, getting that beauty rest for Charles in. And Atherin. Hola, everybody. Oh, I didn't do the shout out for Atherin. There you go. Check out Atherin. Um, and let's see who's on Twitch. Hey, if there's anybody on YouTube, I appreciate that. Like and subscribe. That would be awesome. If you're on Twitch, feel free to stick around for the raid. We're looking to see who is on tonight on Tuesday, despite what the title might have said. I have been informed that it is actually still Tuesday. Plobby's on. Maybe we'll just go hang out with Plobby. Sally Quinn's on too. We're going to go hang out with Plobby though. It's a Plobby night. I got to say hi to Plobby, although I'm probably going to sneak over and say hi to Sally too. And I see Zyra Stan is on, and our good friend Taddy Bidet is on. I'm just going to double check further down just to make sure. My good friend Memloss is playing Grand Theft Auto. And DJ Ray is on. Go check out DJ Ray. I will probably be over there later tonight. So, do that. DJ Ray. Give my man a follow. But in the meantime, we're going to go say hi to Plobby 3D, who is trying to create, I believe, avatars in Blender. So we'll do that. I think it's Blender. That might be Blender. I think Plobby's a Blender user. Anyhow, let's do the raid calls. Hey, I may have something new out in the next couple of days at Daz. Keep an eye out for that. Buy my stuff at Daz. That would be cool. Feel free to join the Discord. There you go. If you post stuff in the galleries, we will share it on Saturdays. Did that not work? Did my Discord command not work? What the hell? Anyhow, find my disc. I'm gonna look into that. Anyhow, let's do this. Let's raid. Hey, if you're just a regular, if you're not a sub, use this raid call. My bot just broke. That's what happened. It worked. The Daz command worked, and this other stuff. I'm gonna go kick my bot. Hold on. It's bot butt kicking time. We're gonna go to Streamlabs. I'm still using Streamlabs for my bot. Eventually, I will move over, but in the meantime, Streamlabs is an easy way to get streaming, but I'm not sure about them as a company anymore. Log in with my Twitch. Wait. There we go. CloudBot. Activate CloudBot. CloudBot got turned off in the middle of stream. How? All right, let's try this again. Um, nope, my Discord command still isn't working. Why are you not? Did my CloudBot suddenly get unmodded or something? I can't tell. Mod Streamlabs. Let's make sure my Streamlabs is modded. Did my mod command not work? Streamlabs is already modded in the channel. Okay, let's try this again. Nope. My commands still aren't working. I don't know what happened. It's all perfectly fine. Is the raid command doing anything? Does my subraid command do anything? The Atherin command just worked. Of course, I migrated that. The DAS command worked. I don't think I've migrated the DAS command yet. I'm definitely going to have to migrate all my other bunch of my other commands, especially these ones. Anyhow, I'm not sure what my raid call is. Anyhow, throw in raid emotes when we get over there. Let me see if I can get this raid going. We'll go over and say hi to Plobby. I'll try this. Plobby 3D, super cool cat. Control V, Control V. God damn it, nothing. Control C, Control V, Plobby, there you go. Anyhow, thank you all for being here. I hope you have a good rest of a Tuesday or a Wednesday for those of you on the happy side of the planet. And I can't see anything because Twitch has got this goddamn thing in the way. Did I do the slash raid? I can't tell. Let me check my stream manager and see what it shows. I see no indication that I started a raid. Raid has been created. All right, there we go. 3 viewers, yay! We don't have raid calls, but feel free to just chuck some raid emotes in there. Anyhow, thank you all for being here. See you over at Plobby's. Hasta la vista, baby.